No, man, but you got to keep going. What am I going to do, quit? That's not an option. You got to keep on keeping on. Life's a garden, dig it? You make it work for you. You never give up, man. That's my philosophy.
Hey, gardeners. Hope you're all having a great week out in your gardens this week. I'm just out here pulling weeds from my strawberry patch and checking out for baby runners. I got to get out today and set little pots and clip these down so I can start creating new plants out of all of my runners here, so I can start some new strawberry plants. We harvested some strawberries out of this patch here over the last couple of weeks, and it's starting to put out new ones already, which is great. But the strawberries are little tiny ones, so we want to get some new big ones going. So I'm gonna plant out a bunch of these little runners as they start popping out and running around, and see how many plants we can get to replace all of these old ones for our next season. All right, everybody. Hey, George. Say, let's get growing, dude. All right, everybody. We have a great show for you today. Some great guests. Let's get growing. All right, all my passionate plant people and garden enthusiasts. Welcome to Let's Get Growing show here on the Urban Gardener channel. I'm Enoch. I'm your host today. We've got a great show for you today. We've got some great guests. We actually have returning guest, one of our favorite guests, Farmer Greg Peterson is back on the show today. We're going to catch up with Farmer Greg and talk about what's going on and growing on over at the Urban Farm and the Urban Farm podcast, as well as we have joining with us today, Graylen Brown from Urban Gardening with Gray. We're going to meet him in our Are You Following Me segment here in just a little bit here on the show. So definitely stay tuned for all of these great conversations coming up here on the show. And definitely, if you are here joining with us, you know the drill. Right at the top of the show, let's click that thumbs up. Let's hit that like button and subscribe. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Hit the bell notifications to be notified of upcoming videos and all of these great live shows here at the Let's Get Growing show, and all these wonderful conversations that we have here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and as well for all of you joining with us over in the UK, 7 p.m. British Standard Time. And I don't know if we got much room to start adding in for all of our folks who wake up bright and early, like our good friend Rick in Australia and everything as well too. But thank you all so much for being here. It's really great to have all of you here join with us here today on the Let's Get Growing show, and especially a big huge shout out to all of you who are joining with us here on the replay. Thank you all so much for joining with us on your time and checking out again these just really great conversations all about gardening and growing, and all of these great wonderful awesome garden communicators who are out there sharing gardening and all of that here. We're just building great garden community on the Let's Get Growing show. So again, thank you all so much for taking part on your time. Jump into the comment section right down below in this video here and let us know you're here. Let us know what you got growing on. Let me know if you got any suggestions, or if there's any guests or anybody you're following that you would like to see here on our show. I've been getting some great suggestions lately, and we've been getting some folks on the show as well too. So definitely, you got some suggestions, definitely let me know in the comments section below. And if you are here joining with us live today, definitely jump into our chat there, wherever that is. Is it over there? Is it down there? Wherever the chat is, jump in. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you got growing on. And if you have any questions or comments for us, definitely drop into the chat section there. And for any questions, put those in big, bold capital letters so that I can see the questions from the regular conversation. And that way I can make sure we get those questions asked, especially ask some questions to drop in your questions for our guests as well, too. I love to get your questions in when we are interviewing and talking with our guests during the show. So love to hear all of that from all of you. And links are all right down below. You know where to find all of this. That's where we have all the links to our guests who are taking their time to be here on the show with us. And let's show some real thankful. Let's be thankful for that and drop over into one of their links down below. Go subscribe. Go check out what they've got growing on. Maybe jump into one of their more recent posts or videos or reels or something like that. And leave them a comment there and let them know you saw them here on the Let's Get Growing show. I really appreciate it when you guys do that and take that extra time. So thank you so much when you do that as well, too. So right on, everybody. I hope you all have been having a wonderful, wonderful week out in the garden this week. Everything growing along. As I mentioned last week as well, too, I just put out recently one of our more recent garden journals where I got out and planted out all of my different tomatoes and all of that. So that was just this last week or so, and they're growing along nicely. Everything's growing good. I'm planting out some extra stuff. We're getting some things mulched out and finished out today, as well as you saw at the beginning of the show there, some of those strawberry runners and all that sort of stuff as well, too. And then keep an eye out to this next week for our next garden journal. Yesterday I put out our newest video in our Growing Peppers series. This was part 6, and I took you through how I put together our compost tea. I brew up compost tea for our gardens. That's kind of what we use to feed our gardens throughout the season. In fact, what I use now more so than a regular compost tea is a vermicompost tea with some worms that I grow myself. You know, I have my own worm bins. I'm harvesting my own worm castings. And so we're brewing up our own worm casting tea. It's just a great way to extend it out. You know what I mean? I could take a good handful or two of some worm castings. Instead of spreading that out in a pot or two, I can take that and make a 5-gallon bucket of this just wonderful tea that I can now dilute down into a really awesome fertilizer that can water most of my plants in. And I can do that, you know, regularly over every couple of weeks through regular harvesting of my worm castings. So you want to go check out that video if you want to see what our system looks like and how we brew our compost tea and our vermicompost tea and all of that as well, too. So definitely check that out. This pepper growing series has been really, really fun. I've been just really, really enjoying it. There's been so much going on, and I keep thinking about more things. And so I don't know if I'm going to have to, like, maybe next year do another one, because I'm finding things that I wish I would have put in or filled in or something. So maybe this is ultimately a trial run for what could be really the ultimate pepper growing series next year. I'm not sure, because again, there are some things, but for the most part, really great so far. Following along with all of our peppers. I've been wanting to do this for several years now, kind of take a focus in on something. And I kind of knew that when I started to do that, other than kind of the gardening vlog type style garden journal videos that we normally do for our video section of the channel, I wanted to do something that was really kind of centered on certain plants, kind of just show them growing through the whole season, that sort of thing, and make a really great series out of it. And again, I kind of already knew and had an idea that peppers would definitely be one of the first ones I would do. Maybe next time or the next series or something would follow along with some tomatoes or some other things like that or something. But full season, let's just really hyper look at what I do and how I take care of and what we're doing throughout the season, along along with some of our plants. And we grow a lot of peppers too. So I grow a lot of different varieties of peppers. We grow them in all different spaces and places throughout all of our different garden spaces that we have here. In fact, one of the cool videos that we'll have coming up, which I'm really, really excited about too, because this will be a first for me in several years now, because we used to have one of the first real features of this channel, in fact, when I first got it started, because it's really kind of how folks kind of pushed me into sharing what I was doing, was because I had all of these peppers growing in these 5-gallon earth wicking buckets that I got and I made, and I put them all up on this carport rooftop. And the first year had a few, second year, got up to about 20. And then by the third and fourth and fifth year that I was growing up there, it was just this full blown big old pepper farm basically on this rooftop that we had up there. It was attracting a lot of attention from the neighborhood and all that sort of stuff. And that's when I started the channel early on, was to kind of share about that and the other garden spaces. As I've told that story many times on the channel. But not only did it get a lot of attention from the neighborhood, because they could see it from all over the neighborhood and people would walk by and check that out, but the owners of the place that I rent from here, they also finally figured out as well too. And mind you, I'd been up there for years already. They never really hardly ever came around. So they finally came around. They noticed them up there and they said, you got to take those down. And so, man, it was such a bummer. I did videos on all of that years ago and everything. So we haven't been able to grow up on our rooftop for years now. And now we got new ownership. New owners bought this place out this last year or so. And now they really love the garden stuff. They're ready to grow and do more. In fact, they've started their own garden space now, inspired by some of the stuff we're doing here in parts of the back space on their side of the place as well too. And so we're going to get back up on that rooftop, and that's going to be a fun video coming up as well too in that series, is getting back up and growing our peppers back on the rooftop garden. We'll talk about, again, those earth wicking buckets, still a mainstay feature of our garden spaces, our container garden spaces, especially for those of you who live in warm climates. That'll be another one we'll have coming up here real soon, as we'll also be talking about the transplanting and everything too. As you know, we passed the last frost last month. Everything got all planted out and everything, so we're still working on getting the videos out, but we'll have them all out, and we'll show you how everything's growing along there as well too, with all of that sort of stuff when it comes to our peppers. And then again, like I said, to follow along with our garden journals, I'm going to try to have another one of those out this next week as well too, so you can see some of the other things that we've got growing on and how things are growing along here on our urban garden spaces. And again, thank you all so much too for jumping in. And I've been noticing all the comments over there on the videos. A lot of you who are watching the show here now too. I'm starting to see a lot of your comments as well too. I really appreciate that. Comments and all of that sort of stuff are really, really important for all of us out here who are making videos and putting out all of this comment or all of these content and all that sort of stuff when it comes to what we've got growing on in our gardens, and sharing that all with you. And it's just really great to hear from all of you too, and it really helps our videos and our posts and all that stuff as well too, to hear from you. So it's real important to jump into those comment sections and just say a little bit of this and that, share a little bit about what you got growing on, or any ideas or thoughts or suggestions and all that, as I've said before too. So thank you all too. Again, I've been noticing a lot of you as well too over there. I really, really appreciate that from all of you. And I hope all of you got a lot of things growing on in your garden. Everything's been going good. I see everybody here in the comments too as well. Let's take a real quick rundown here before we get in and and chat with our guest here today. Let's see here. Let's see. I noticed we got there we are. Our good friend Jay. We got to say hi to Jay first, our facilitator in the chat. Everybody keep an eye out there from Jay, joining us from Midwestern Ontario, Canada. Jay will be dropping in links and all sorts of other further information on topics and subjects that we're talking about throughout the show. So definitely keep an eye out for Jay. Thank you so much, Jay, for doing all of that as well too. And let's see here. Excellent. And right on. Let's see here. Oh, and I was mentioned earlier, Rick joining us from the future with the likes. Yes, definitely. Like. Thank you very much. Hit that thumbs up. And again, thank you, Rick, for getting up nice and early. Like I said just a minute ago, too, all of you folks from Australia. I see a couple of others who jump in here and there as well, too, getting up real early to come hang out with us here for the conversation. So again, Rick, thank you so much for that. Joining us from the future, as I say, because it's actually tomorrow over there. I see Big Will Dog in the soil in the conversation saying hello. We got Janet McDonald in there. Right on. I see Adam Burley, our other moderator, my good friend, joining us from right up the road here. And I live in Southern Oregon. So does Adam. He's just right up the road. So yeah, great to see you, Adam. Thanks. And thanks for joining with us here. Eddie joining us says hello from North Alabama. First time to see one of your lives. But I'm familiar with many of your viewers. You come recommended. Excellent. I love it. Excellent. Thank you so much, Eddie. Thank you for taking your time to come hang out with us and be here for our show today. We've got a great show. We got some really great guests here. We got to get moving along here actually real quick here so we can get to checking out this great conversation. I see Emmanuel, how you doing, man? It's great to see you, the ultimate gardener. Excellent, Emmanuel. Real quick, I just did see your post. What was it, yesterday, day before, or whatever? Congratulations, Emmanuel just graduated from high school. I saw your graduation photo, man. Thank you so much. Emmanuel's one of our young growers out there, growing and sharing his growing experience as well too out there over at the Ultimate Gardener. So go and check out Emmanuel. And again, congratulations, Emmanuel. Now time for the next part of your life, man. I hope you best luck to you and everything goes great. You really deserve it. You're a good kid, man. Thanks. Awesome. Let's see here, everybody. Getting in here. Oh, Brett, thank you for joining in. I'm trying to make sure I don't want to miss anybody who's joining in with us. Let's see. Bree, thank you. I used to live in Southwest Oregon. Can't wait to hear your chat today. Used to live in Southwest. Awesome. We're down here in the Rogue Valley here in Southern Oregon. So I don't know if it's by Southwest, you mean maybe a little more towards the coast, maybe. We are just a little bit inland here. But right on. Excellent. Thank you again, everybody. Thanks for joining with us here. And like I said, we've got some great conversations coming up here in just a minute. We're going to take a real quick break here, and we'll be right back for our Are You Following Me? I've been tongue-tied on that one today. All right, we'll see you guys in a minute.
Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cool plants, and author, Saving the World with the Home Garden. Ivory Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard has 7 natural oils that protect your plants, not just from the summer heat as well as winter cold, but also protects your plants from damaging insects and rodents. The oils in the product include castor, cinnamon, clove, garlic, peppermint, rosemary, and spearmint. These oils are natural insect and rodent repellent oils, which are encapsulated by the base powder, offering your plants months of protection at a time. 1 application per year will suffice for protection against damaging summer sunburn and winter sun scald, but if the target is pests, application as much as 2 to 3 times a year may be necessary.
Hi everyone, this is Sarah from Sarah's Seed Shop, here with this week's trivia question. Which of the following is not a variety of corn? A. Golden Acre, B. Orchard Baby, C. Flint, or D. Painted Mountain? We'll be back with the answer a little later in the show.
Right on, right on, right on. Do you know the answer to Sarah's trivia question today? I'm going to tell you what, she got me today. She got me today. I'll tell you that. And here's another thing I want to say too. No Googling either. I saw that last week. No Googling either. We're just using our good old garden minds around here for Sarah's trivia. So give your best guess. What do you think isn't the variety of corn there as well too? And we'll get back with Sarah here in just a little bit and get the answer to her question. And as well too, if you didn't get a chance to check out last week's show, definitely go and check out last week's show. Last week we had on with us Jeremy Trotsky from Dirty Punk Gardening joined with us, and also we got to meet or meet again another returned guest with us. We had Yaz from MCR Urban Gardener join with us from Manchester, talking about her alleyway garden. So we had a great conversation on our Saturday show. And remember, again too, we are here Saturdays and Sundays, and last Sunday was the second Sunday of the month, and each second Sunday of the month we have joined with us Master Gardener Scott Wilson from the Gardener Scott channel, join with us for Ask Gardener Scott on our second Sunday of the month for a great Q&A conversation with Gardener Scott. Those conversations are really fun. We get to answer all of your garden questions and all of that, plus be able to just really talk with Gardener Scott about gardening and all of the things that he has growing on and everything. So it really is a fun Q&A session if you haven't had a chance to check that out. So all right, everybody, let's get moving along. Today it's time for Are You Following Me?
Are you following me? Are you following me, dude?
All right. For today's Are You Following Me, we have joined with us Graylen Brown from Urban Gardening with Gray. Excellent, Gray. Thanks for joining with us. It's great to have you here on the show.
Thank you for having me. Honor and privilege, sir.
Absolutely. It's our honor. It's our privilege for sure. Thank you again for being here. Real quick here, just give you a minute or so. Let's give you a chance to just introduce yourself to everybody. Let us all know about Graylen and Urban Gardening with Gray.
Certainly. I am Graylen Brown of Urban Gardening with a lot of my fans and followers.
We're having a little audio. Is there some? I'm not sure. It seems to be cutting out when we're getting to talking. You might have to try it. Maybe we have a different audio source. Yeah, it kind of cut out, so I'm not getting any audio at the moment. We might have to go without or something if you don't have, or something if you have a different audio source other than those. Maybe, I'm not sure. We'll give that a try. That's just the fun though, everybody, right? Too. We get this every now and then, so don't worry, Gray. No big deal. We're a live show. We're trying to connect from all over the world, doing all sorts of stuff. So when it comes down to it, all this stuff happens. I'll even preface with one of the things I haven't seen yet today and still could happen at any moment is I've been dealing with a gremlin and a bug in my system lately that just drops me out completely right in the middle of my own show. So lots and lots of stuff goes on. Let's see here. Do we got something else going on?
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, let's give that a shot there. Perfect. Sorry, Gray.
All right. No, I'm sorry. I apologize about that. Technology is great when it works, right?
That's right.
But my name is Graylen Brown of Urban Gardening with Gray, and a lot of my friends and followers like to call me the Bob Ross or the Mr. Rogers of gardening, because one, I'm all about helping, and two, it's just a positive outlook and disposition that I have.
Yes.
And Urban Gardening with Gray on all social media platforms.
All social media. That's right. It's great too. And that was one of the things I really loved about when I ran across your stuff too, is and your description of yourself, I think, is almost perfect, and everything. It's just a really great, just kind of enlightening, feel good, just, let's just enjoy our space. That's what our time here is about, kind of thing. And just some really, really great stuff there.
Now, I do want to say that your sponsor, believe it or not, I use the product well.
Yes.
I was like,
Excellent. Excellent.
IV Organic. I use it for my fruit
There's our,
trees, so perfect.
That's amazing. Awesome. Awesome. I'm sure Charles is going to love to hear about that for sure. Definitely. I love it. Excellent. Right on, Grace. So, real quick here, again, too, we're all about garden stories here at the Let's Get Growing show. So, where does your gardening story begin? Where does it get started for Gray?
Well, it's interesting. It started with my grandmother back in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, many moons ago. I mean, I had to be maybe 10, 11 years old. My grandmother came to me. She said, hop in the car. We're going to Lowe's and we're going to pick up some lumber. So we picked up some lumber, some cinder blocks, and we built our first raised bed together. And from there, she said, your job this summer, because it was summer vacation and there's no sitting around Momo's house. And she said, you are going to grow tomatoes. And I grew, first tomato I ever grew was a Roma tomato. And when I bit into that tomato the first time, that grew with these own hands of mine, I was hooked ever since. And that's why still to this day, every season, I make sure I grow some Roma tomatoes specifically for my grandmother.
That's right. There you go. That's perfect. You got to do that too, right? Keep some family heritage and that sort of stuff going. Carry that memory on and all of that too. I'm looking too. I just had my first grandchild this last year. In fact, her first year birthday's coming up in a couple of weeks, and so now I'm going to get to build hopefully some of those great memories. So maybe someday down the road she'll be talking with some folks and talking about how she still grows something that I helped teach her grow from when she was young as well too.
She will.
I mean, that's really one of the fun parts of what we get to do in gardening, and sharing, is that generational sharing, right?
Oh, of course. I love sharing with kids of all ages because believe it or not, I actually used to be an educator. So I always have a close connection with animals and kids. And so sharing that knowledge with them is really what just warms my heart.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it too. I love teachers. Teachers are some of my favorite people in the whole world. Some of some of the greatest people I knew were some of my teachers growing up and all of that. So that was pretty much like your first gardening experience. So where does it really get going for you though too? Is this something you just kind of keep doing every single year from that point on? I mean, or has there always been a garden in your backyard or front yard or wherever it's at, or is this something that later on in life you came back to? Because that's kind of my story. I kind of had a little bit going on when I was younger, and then I found food gardening later when I was later on in my adulthood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, totally. Of course, in my adolescence and teenage years, I was kind of nomadic, just traveling all over the United States. I always at least had one or two plants, in my apartment or house, wherever I was. But once I finally dug in and put my roots down here in Dallas, Texas, met my wife, we've had a garden ever since. And I'm saying I'm maybe 20 plus years in of just always making sure that I'm growing food. Whether I'm growing food, ornamentals, fruit trees, I love them all. I have to have plants around.
Yeah. And that's really been the case for me too, as I was mentioning to you before we started the show up and everything. I love that you got all your plants in the background. You got some cool hanging ones and stuff. I see everything going on there, which is really great. I always get complimented for the background I have, and I'm like, all right, I got some competition today.
Yeah, I was checking out the plants the whole time. Doing good.
Excellent. I love it. Yes, again too, like I said, there's just something that, again, for me, I learned to grow houseplants when I was really young, from like 5, 6, 7 years old. I was having my own little plants on my own little nightstand in my own little room. You know what I mean? So I've always been surrounded by plants and have had that love. Parents were really into plants and horticulture and those sort of things. So I kind of had that in my genes in a way. But I really did, though, in my story, and I don't talk a lot about those sort of things in a way, but did come across my journey myself, though. You know what I mean? I grabbed a hold of that stuff myself, really, and did that and everything too. But yeah, plants are so helpful. They're so nice to have, and again, too, I think is one of the cool things about the content you make. You know what I mean? Is that you take and relate those things to our lives and to things that are going on. What was the one could you tell me one again too? I want to hear this one again. I was watching. Were you relating some gardens or growing to a spaceship or something recently?
Yeah. So the wonderful Andre 3000 had a lyric in a song, and
Yeah.
the lyric goes, "Spaceships are not equipped with rear view mirrors." And so I take that phrase and then I connect it to gardening, because I said neither does gardening. The
Yeah.
seed does not know, or the seed wants to push up out of the darkness. It does not look back at its past. It only grows forward. Same with your
Mhm.
plants, because I think the biggest thing, specifically for my beginner gardeners, is that we get so caught up on if we lose a plant. I say the best gardeners have killed the most plants, because you got to get that learning curve out of the way. It's not a failure. It's a path growing forward. We learn from each instance, whether it be
Mhm.
pests, whether it be plant disease, and so forth. And then, of course, as always, folks like myself and you are here to bridge that gap and answer those questions along the way. It's all about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Charles is in the conversation right now. So it's a pleasure meeting you, Graylen. Wishing you a very happy Grandfather's Day. Oh, to me. Okay, excellent. Thanks. Happy Dad's Day out there. Oh, yes, excellent. Yeah, that's true too. It is Happy Father's Day this weekend, coming up tomorrow for all you fathers out there. Yeah, I love that. I love that, and I really like again too. I'm an Outcast fan myself as well, and from those days too. But I love that relating that sort of thing, and not looking to the past and looking forward, and we can look to plants to see that sort of stuff, because that's what they're really showing us, really, in a way, because they don't do that. They don't look back, and I thought that was just really insightful and such a great way to be looking at how you know some really inner meaning to a lot of the things growing around us.
Well, I appreciate that, because there are so many things that we could look at that can make it very bleak. But I try to always be that person that's going to bring that smile to your day, or give you one of those make you say moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Think a little bit more, and what a good, and the garden space is a good space to just kind of introspect and to just kind of think about a lot of stuff. Anyways, I've got, as I've mentioned to people as well too, I got a lot of little sitting spaces. My garden spaces are all different in different spots. I have a lot of sitting places where I do just kind of like to sit and think about some of this sort of stuff, and my mind will kind of go into some of those really kind of deep thoughts as well too. But it's good to think about that stuff, and plants help us make those sort of connections, which really do in the long run really improve our outlook and how we go about our everyday lives too.
Oh, truly. I mean, that's for me. That's what my garden is. It's my center. It's
Mhm.
my ground. It's what gives me my peace throughout my day, because I'm literally in my garden every single day, and it allows me to deal with whatever challenges may come my way, because I have that moment where I just get that peace and that serenity from that ecosystem I've created.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really awesome. So what I know that sounds good, but what else is there that you really enjoy most about gardening for yourself personally when you're out in the garden? What is it that you like doing the most?
Well, it varies. Honestly, I love every
Hmm.
aspect of it. But for me, it's going to be two things: propagation,
Yeah.
asexually or sexually. So either I'm growing from seed or I'm growing from cuttings. That's my
Yeah.
favorite thing to do, because just seeing that life unfold, and unfurl in front of me is like one of my passions. So I'm always propagating plants, my house plants and my ornamentals from cuttings. And then I'm always, growing from seeds. Sometimes I grow way too many seeds and then I have to give them away to family and friends.
Right, exactly. I run into that same issue all the time as well too. But there's nothing like sharing, right? And that's why being plentiful and having a lot isn't a big deal for us gardeners, because we'll just find someone to shuffle them off to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Sharing is caring, right?
Sharing is caring, that's for sure. What are some of your favorite things to grow? I mean, you mentioned, of course, you had the Roma tomato, which is a great heritage thing. Are there any other favorites that you just got to have in your garden every year?
Well, every year, currently I'm growing 3 different varieties of grapes. And as you know from grapes, you got 3 years before you really get any actual fruit. So they're my current favorite because I've spent the most time with them. But then, of course, my peach trees and strawberries. Strawberries are a constant favorite here because my kids, they love strawberries. So currently I have 13 strawberry patches all throughout my property because I just keep expanding. With strawberries, you get those runs, right?
That's what I was showing at the beginning of the show there. Yeah,
I loved it because I was sitting there like, oh, yep, got some runners there. Propagate those, make more plants, more strawberries.
That's right. Yep. I have kind of limited spaces, so I can only do so much. And again, too, so instead of like having wider spread spaces where I can just let them run, let new plants go, and then just every couple of years pull old ones, which is what you should do. If you got, an older strawberry patch, you let them runners, propagate new plants and pull old plants and keep those new ones going and all of that. But I have limited spaces, so I actually have to replace plants. So I have to go in every few years, propagate out my runners, and get myself, hopefully I'll get enough through, which I should, to be able to replace all of the plants coming this next season. And then for the next 3-4 years, we'll have some good plants. They'll be growing and all that. And about another 3-4 years from now, I'll have to do this process again as well too. I've already done it once before in replacing all of them around and several years ago. So it's time to do it again. But that's what's awesome about it. Like you're saying, plants and propagation and just how amazing it is in how they work in different ways too. Right. It's not just a seed all the time, right? Sometimes it's a cutting, sometimes it's a runner plant, sometimes it's, other things that we've got to do to propagate them.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you mentioned that because a lot of people pass over the fact that original parent plant of a strawberry will eventually slow down in production. So those offspring, those runners, that's your new iteration, so I'm glad you mentioned it. And just like mint too, like chocolate mint is my all-time favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I love
I got chocolate milk right out front. I've got about 4 or 5 different varieties. I just got an orange mint this year, which is an interesting. I don't know if I really like it or not. I'm telling just to be honest, it's an interesting flavor profile and different for a mint for sure. But definitely cool. And so I'm growing that one and adding it to our mints this year. But I do have a chocolate mint as well. Those are good. I really do like that one.
One of my friends on TikTok just told me about a recipe that if you take some watermelon juice, like you take and you get the juice from a watermelon and then mix in your ground up chocolate mint, it really makes a nice refreshing drink. I haven't tried it yet because she literally just told me about it like 2 days ago, but it sounds appetizing.
Wow. I wonder, do you just put the mint in? Do you muddle it a little bit? Or maybe you could just kind of mush it a little bit before you put it in, and then maybe some ice and pour that just directly over ice or something. And I bet you that's really.
You said it right there.
Woo.
Yeah.
Man,
You don't have to muddy the water. That's perfect.
I'm doing that. I'm going to do that. In fact, I have the chocolate mint, so I could do that right away. In fact, I might have to try that here when the weather warms right back up here.
Right up.
Excellent. Let's see here. Oh, Mobius says right here too, chocolate mint in hot chocolate. Thank me later. Yes. I'm telling you, probably the same thing, right? Huh?
Well, you know what my daughter and I love to do? My daughter is 9. She came up with an idea to take our chocolate mint and mix it in with brownies. So we make chocolate mint
Ooh,
brownies like every Christmas time, and it's
what?
like biting into like Girl Scout cookies. It's amazing.
Right, right. About how much chocolate mint you putting in for, say, a batch of like brownies? You know, if you got like one of those brownie
I'd say
mixes or
maybe
something.
about a half cup. About a half cup. You take your chocolate mint. Make sure
S-
you
Pull it.
thicken your chocolate mint early in the morning. That's when the oils are the strongest.
Ooh,
And when you
yeah.
flip it in the morning, cut about, yeah, I would say about half a cup and mix to your batter. And that's going to be just, and it's not going to be overpowering. It's just going to be the right amount of mint and chocolate
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Boy, oh boy. Now
in
I'm wanting all of this mint stuff now for sure. Just sounds
there.
delicious. Sounds delicious. Right on. So here you are, you're into gardening and all that sort of stuff. What was it really ultimately that made you decide to start sharing your garden experience to create Urban Gardening with Gray and putting all that out there?
Honestly, it was my wife. My
Yeah,
wife was the one who came to me. I got to give all
wonderful.
credit to her. She was the
Yeah,
one that came to me and said, you have to share what you have here. And truth be told, my first experience was sharing a failure because I am a truly authentic gardener. I'm going to show you wins and fails because I want everyone to know that we're all on the same playing field. No matter if you've been
hmm,
growing for 20 years or for 1 year, we're all the same. And so I started with a fail that squash vine borers just completely wiped out my squash patch. And my
wow.
wife was one, she was like, you need to share this because a lot of people see all the victories in gardens. They need to see the failures too. And from there, I was just hooked.
Yeah. Wow. I love it. I love it. It just sounds awesome. And again, too, thanks to your wife too, for being insightful enough to say, hey, this is something we need to be doing here for sure. And again, too, good stuff. So do you have any interesting current or future projects in mind or things that you got coming up here?
Yes, well, a very good friend of mine, almost like a brother, Andre the farmer and we actually have an online
Mm,
gardening community called Better
yeah.
Gardener. We actually do live calls twice a week with all our participants, and this is where we coach and help folks just learn how to grow. I mean, we literally have members of our community from all over the world, and we meet with them twice a week. And so I just did my last call on Thursday, but I'll be jumping back on next Thursday to talk to all our participants and keep connecting with more and more gardens throughout the world. So Better Gardener, it's through school.com is where our community is.
At school.com for Better Gardener. And Andre the farmer then as well too, right?
Yes, yes. Andre actually hosts his calls on every Sunday. Right now, he's out in Dominica, but he still
Okay.
jumps on to help out our participants. And it's funny because we talk to our community twice a week. I honestly talk to them more than I talk to some family members, so we're always connected.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that way too. Here, being here twice a week, here on the weekends and everything. I definitely get to hang out with my garden community a lot more than some other people in my life. Sometimes, that's for sure. But no,
Right,
Andre's
right.
great. We had Andre on the show just a little while back ago too, as well, and just a really great guy as well too. Love what he's doing over there too. So that's good to hear that you guys do that and you guys work together as well too. So right on, man. And anything else that we should know about coming up there at all?
Well, every Monday, we're actually trying to be a little bit like you, sir.
Okay,
Every
no
Monday,
problem.
Andre and I, we have a podcast with a fellow friend, the chocolate botanist. We have
Oh
a
yes,
Instagram live. Yeah, we
Instagram
have a
live that you're doing with. Yeah, I'm
every
hoping to
Monday.
I'm hoping to get the chocolate botanist on a shows that I'm trying to set up coming up here later on in the season for sure. It's been my plan ultimately, and just maybe a tease, just because we're bringing it up, and I have a hard time not talking about things sometimes. But because again, too, the bringing up like all the plants and everything, mostly what we're about here on the show is urban gardening, small space gardening, a lot of stuff outdoors and everything too. And with urban gardening, there's a lot of stuff, as far as food growing and things like that we're doing indoors and everything, but we don't do too much of a focus on house plants. You know what I mean? Every now and then I did earlier this year, I took everybody on a little tour, did a little tour video to show everybody all the plants in the background so they can see them up close because they see them in the background. But I want to do a couple of weeks of shows where all our guests are just house plant people. People are sharing about house plants and growing house plants and doing all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of in the plan and in the works for later down the road. And Chocolate Botanist is on my list for that for sure. So I want to have him take part of that.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because unfortunately with the niches, they try to separate us, ornamental and fruit and food growers, but we're all the same. We're cut from the same cloth. We're the same family.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big part of, our goal and our mission here too with the show as well, is again too growing community through gardening and all aspects of gardening too. However you garden as well, you know what I mean? We do, and I have the way I garden. Everybody has the way they garden, and we do all that in different ways. No matter where we are, but whether we like flower gardening, house plants, whether we only garden a couple of things, in a couple of pots over here, and that's all we do, that's fine as well too. You're still a gardener in my mind, or maybe you're a market gardener, or even too, we have fun with like people who grow giants, grow the big giant ones and stuff and have fun with all of that sort of stuff. So however you garden, that's what this space is all about here. And what we're doing with this show, is to welcome everybody who loves growing, because it's our connection with plants and all of that, for me, changed my life, and I truly believe in. So, that's all we want to, we want to have conversations with folks about those sort of things, and no matter how they grow, Right on. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. How about any advice or tips for newer gardeners? I'm sure you're out there talking to newer gardeners, and a lot of your content and stuff I know is geared towards people who are getting into the hobby of gardening and all that. Any like go-to advice that you really have for folks who are getting started gardening out there?
Yes. If you're starting a garden, start small. Find a few plants to focus on. I would even say maybe start with some herbs. Get that instant gratification. Get that quick win, that quick victory. And then you scale up from there. And then the best advice I can definitely give you is kill as many plants as you can. That's just going to make you better. Kill plants. Don't feel ashamed. Kill them.
That's the wonder of plants and nature, in the sense too, is that they're they teach us resilience in a sense, you know what I mean? And through the sense of, what we got to know is that, ultimately it takes, going through hundreds and hundreds, sometimes thousands of plants to get to learn how to grow something really well. And we can't be afraid of doing that. And I love that advice. I'll just share, I had my neighbors again too, who are the new owners. I was explaining to everybody about how we're getting to expand and work on our spaces again, that we're doing the rooftop garden and all that stuff. But they're out working on and setting up their new garden and all of that. And it's just wonderful seeing young new gardeners and people who are just finding this love for plants, right? But when they find a space or they find plants and stuff, you also get a lot of, and they see these little things and they're like, oh, what can I do to save this and put this over here? And then they're trying to save this. Oh, I don't want to kill this over here. And I'm like, no, wipe it out, get it out of there. You got this. You're trying to grow over here. Work that plant that you're working there. Don't worry about that one over. Oh, but I want to. It is just, and again, too, I love the love for plants that this comes from. But ultimately we're learning, through the, lessons of that plant's life cycle. Right.
That's right. It's all about that journey. So go ahead and take that leap. It's okay. I give you permission.
Yeah. No doubt, for sure. You've got my permission. Excellent, Gray. Right on, man. I'm really enjoying the conversation here. Let's see here. I'm gonna see if I check something. I will admit something right now. I usually kind of hold on and start talking to people just a little bit longer than normal. And we're already going a little longer than normal because I'm not seeing our featured guest yet today in our studio. So just kind of a little warning to everybody, a little warning to you as well, too. I might extend our conversation out just a few more minutes here until we see Greg show up in the background. But usually our guest is in. So Greg could be having some issues. I haven't seen any messages yet. I'm looking in... to make sure everything's good. Let's see here. I'm gonna just send out here. We're just having fun on the show today, right, Graylen?
That's right. It's all about the fun. It's about the process. We're good.
Let's see here.
And while you're looking that up, I just want to say that one of the things that I love about the gardening community is helping too. I really have built
there
my
he is.
brand. There he is. You got him? Okay.
No problem. No, to keep going. No, we'll finish up here real quick.
Yeah, no worries. I just want to say, being a master gardener, Texas Master Gardener, we're a service organization. So we're all about helping those gardeners grow. And that's what I thrive on. I always say, if you have questions, I can find the answers for you, So that's what it's all about, connecting with people. We connect with plants too. This community, this gardening, this growing, we're connecting with people too.
Yeah. Excellent point too to make as well. And it's something we've been kind of driving hard on here too on my channel and the show and that thing as well is, for one, it's awesome. And this is a great space for us and you and in your spaces as well. You've got some great live streams that you talked about as well too, where, people can gather and talk and communicate and learn about gardening and growing with each other, building that wider, larger gardening community that we can do through social media, through our channels, through what we're doing here, which is really awesome, really great. Well, also, one of the things I'll say too, and I'm sure you agree too, is some of our best community is local community. So getting out there and making sure that we're helping influencing people around us, gardeners around us, and sharing those seeds like you were talking about earlier, Gray, right? Sharing those seeds with our friends and our neighbors and folks around us to help encourage them to garden and grow and to help teach people and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, definitely great advice. Gardening community is what it's all about. And it's really wonderful to have you, Graylen, in our gardening community here. And again, too, thank you so much for spending your time with us here today and talking about your channel. I hope everybody takes the time to check out the links that I have down below to go check out Urban Gardening with Gray. Like I said, go over and check out one of his more recent posts or reels or something like that and say hi and let him know you saw him here on the Let's Get Growing show. And again, too, as I was just mentioning, I will mention to Greg in the background there too, is I do see you now. I just got your email. We're having fun today on this show again, Graylen. It was really awesome here. Thanks for taking a few extra minutes with us today and talking with us here about all of what you got growing on. And we'll look forward to possibly getting you back on again too. What we'll have to do too is get you and Andre together maybe and get you together for like a fun roundtable coming up down the road, because that would be really fun. So let's look forward to maybe doing something like that, huh?
Yes, that sounds great. Let's do it.
Let's do it for sure. Awesome, Graylen. We'll catch you later. We'll see you then.
All right.
Hey, gardeners. Thanks for tuning in to our show today. We'll be right back at it here in just a moment. I just wanted to take a second here to highlight our regular videos and features here on the Urban Gardener channel. Our weekly garden journals, and our incredible featured visits.
The answer to this week's trivia question is A. Although there are many, many different varieties of corn in the world, Golden Acre is not one of them. In fact, Golden Acre is a variety of cabbage closely related to red acre cabbage. Thanks for watching. Head over to Sarah's Seed Shop where you can find garden seeds at unbeatable prices. Enjoy the rest of the show and have a great day.
Right on, right on. Did you get Sarah's trivia question right? Man, she got me. I was telling you. I mean, and she thought of some good alternate names for sure, or names of some corn varieties for sure, because she got me with the orchard one. I was like, orchard? Oh, come on. That's got to be the one, right? But no, and I knew Flint was a variety. But yeah, she definitely got me with that one for sure. Definitely go and check out and get some of your essential gardening seeds over at sarahseedshop.com. You'll find a really great value and get lots of great essential gardening seeds that you can still get over there at sarahseedshop.com. Go show some support there. Thank you, Sarah, for the great trivia question today. Did you guys get that? I hope you guys got that one there too. Oh, Big West says that I have Flint. Right on, right on. Big Will Dog says, I got it wrong. I got it wrong. Yeah, so did I. So did I, for sure. And Mobius said I was wrong too. Yeah, I was wrong. That's for sure. I was totally wrong. And excellent. Thanks again to Sarah for doing that today. And also, again, too, I want to remind everybody, we are here every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. British Summer Time. And that means that we will be here tomorrow for the Sunday edition of the show. And it's the third Sunday of the month. And that means that we have our monthly gardening book club. So make sure you come and join with us tomorrow for our book club. We've got our good friend Mark Boucher-Colbert, Mr. MBC, join with us live for In the Garden and as co-host of our monthly gardening book club, where we're welcoming Mr. Christian Douglas, the author of the Food Forward Garden, as our guest. We're going to be talking all about his really awesome book here, A Complete Guide to Designing and Growing Edible Landscapes. So be sure to join with us tomorrow for the Sunday edition of the show. And right on, everybody, it's time for our featured guest.
You never know when you might learn something, and that's what this is about for me. These are people that I admire. Please welcome my next guest.
All right. Let's welcome back to the show one of our returning guests to the show, our good friend, Mr. Farmer Greg Peterson.
Hello, sir. Does that mean next time I'm going to be your returning guest?
We're out of returning each time. We're gonna have to come up with something like Saturday Night Live, where you're like a 5-timers club or something like that, right?
There you go.
Where we'll get you guys some jackets or something.
So I have a question for you before we get started.
Right. What you got?
How's your rooftop garden growing?
Well, we're getting right up there. It's actually forming and getting up there as we speak. Videos will be coming out soon. I was talking about this towards the beginning of the show because I've been doing this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, Greg, is because I do mostly kind of like garden vlogs, follow along, maybe tours, that sort of stuff for most of my stuff. And I've always wanted to kind of just do something that's really dedicated to plants, certain variety of plants, or type of plants, in this case, peppers, which are one of my first favorites. And so I wanted to do just kind of follow along. How do I grow them from seed all the way to, collecting and starting new plants from seed? You know what I mean? So we're going to propagate. We're going to propagate and collect seed, and then I'm going to end the whole thing with new plants that I grow from the plants that I grew that year.
All the way down my
all the way through the whole process, through the whole season.
Nice. So, but let me just point something out here. What you were talking about, you said all the way through the process. That's not the correct motion. All the way through the process. From seed to seed. This is one of the most, and we're going to talk about this in a bit. This is one of the most important things we can be doing as gardeners.
Yes, absolutely. Is it really one, early on for all the newer gardeners is, one, learn and get used to your garden and start understanding that there's this larger gardening process, this, whereas we're looking at plant development and everything, and we were also touching on that a little bit with Graylen in our previous segment too, as he was mentioning how one of his more fun things he loves doing is growing stuff in his garden and saving seeds. And when he's got extra seeds, what does he love to do? Share them with his friends and get them into gardening and doing that sort of stuff as well too. Big part of the whole process as well too, right?
Yeah. Well, and very quickly, as a grower, once you start saving seeds, you have a seed problem.
Right. Yeah.
Way too many seeds. And then what do you do with them?
Mm-hmm.
You share them with your community.
Yeah, you got to get them out there. I mean, one of the things I've learned too, though, is, and we'll talk about this too, is proper seed banking. Not just collecting seeds like I do as a regular old gardener from back in the day. I've gone to this point of learning over the years and stuff that, again, that we got to really look at proper seed saving and what we're doing to, whether we're seed banking or seed sharing in the long run when we're doing this sort of stuff to not just keep varieties going and alive and all of that, but, perpetuate and keep our food system alive and growing as much as we can, connected to each other as well. But yeah, lots of important stuff though. Real quick, I do got to finish up though, because we did touch on the rooftop. Yes. So I'm back on the rooftop, and we're going to be growing peppers. So I'll be showing that in an upcoming video on our pepper series, taking our buckets back up to the rooftop after not being up there for a few years because we got new ownership. Well, I'll take everybody through the whole story when we do it and everything, but yeah, it's going to be awesome to be back up there. It's going to be awesome to watch it expand again over the next few seasons and get to do that and take advantage of that space again. Really great space.
Oh, by the way, Enoch didn't pay me for that. Shout out.
I know. I know.
You were on my podcast. Oh my gosh, a while back, talking about your rooftop garden, and I just wanted an update.
Yeah. Well, because really, in the long run, I also touched on that too, because it's really why I was really wanted to really be able to make a good video on this and really talk about this, and mentioned it earlier in the show as well too, because it's really on my mind as I'm working on this right now. You know what I mean? So I'm making content and filming things and doing that sort of stuff. But it's taken me back to how all this started. I mean, all this started really, the channel and all this started was because I got noticed in my neighborhood for that rooftop garden. I started having people really walking by, and this is when people started really pulling me aside when I was watering plants and be like, "Hey, are those your plants up there?" And one funny thing as well too, one neighbor noticed, I don't know who they are or whatever, but they did. And this was back right as things were starting to get legalized many years ago. But they called the police thinking I was growing marijuana up on my rooftop up there. So I had police show up one time to go up and inspect the plants and check out what was growing up there to make sure that they were actually
nice. Did you educate them while they were up there?
I told them that they had to eat one of the peppers, and I get to pick which one that they had to eat, and they were like, oh, I don't know about that. And I was like, no, go ahead, you can look. But
nice,
because I had some hot ones up there. I don't think they would really want to have the taste. But
right.
But no, so yeah, that's kind of how all this started, was that rooftop garden, and some folks were like, "Hey, you should share this stuff," or maybe have you got I think one person even asked me directly, "You have a YouTube channel or something?" And that's kind of when I was like, man, I watch all these YouTube channels. And these people think this stuff is really cool. Maybe there is something here I could start and share and do all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't, but maybe, I'd say half a year later, that next growing season, I was starting my first videos and this channel started. It was pretty fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Right on, Greg. Anyways, awesome to have you back. Thanks for coming back again to one of our most returning, or I guess returning guests, or however many times it is now. But it's always great to have you back. I love having the conversation with you. And as I remember emailing you, I was like, because we've been really on a good streak and really lucky and getting all these just amazing people to agree to be on this little show that we got over here.
Like
so
Grayson.
What's that?
Like Grayson.
Yeah, like Grayson, and just amazing people constantly. Every time it just blows my mind. So I was sitting there thinking, and I was looking at the board, and I was like, Greg, I mean, I gotta not forget about Greg. It was like, and I was like, how long has it been? And I was counting the months. I was like, okay, yeah, it's been too long. It's been too long.
Thank you.
It's too long. Gotta have you back, and glad to have you back too. How things growing on over there? I mean, is the season really starting to warm up over there now? I mean,
oh yeah.
We were talking to you. I mean, we were just in the dead of winter. We were just getting the year started. I remember I called on you last minute, and you jumped in to help fill in for me at the very beginning of the year, and so we've had a whole spring going now towards summer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so for those of your listeners that don't know, I lived in Phoenix and gardened in Phoenix for 54 years.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years ago in 2022, my partner Heidi and I picked up and moved to a quiet space in Asheville, North Carolina. I was looking for quiet and a place where I could grow food. And so we've been here now just a little over 3 years. I've learned how to successfully grow onions here. And
yes.
Tomatoes are a little bit harder here. Potatoes. Last fall, I harvested 50 pounds of potatoes out of my gardens this last season. So yeah, things are coming along. I'm really getting good at growing here, because it's way different than growing in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, well, I mean, for one, though, too, is now you got all this. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of different things that you're able to grow in I guess you would say a longer growing season in a way, for a lot of stuff that you wouldn't have in a hot Phoenix season that you have, right? And a lot of certain things you're growing over the winter time versus the summertime that you're able to grow there, which is different, right? So there's this just a whole moving of seasonal growth, how you're in that transition, right?
Yeah, it's opposite here. In winter, we closed down for a couple of months in the Asheville area. In Phoenix, Arizona, we ideally closed down for a couple of months in the summer.
Yeah.
One of my farmer friends, Frank, I'm drawing a blank on his last name. He about 10 years ago said, I'm not going to grow in July and August anymore. I'm just going to grow the rest of the year. So
yeah. I mean, I've been down there in summertime, and I've been to Phoenix a few different times for the Phoenix area during the summertime. One of my twin nephews were actually born in the summertime, so I had to fly down there and went to Phoenix to go see them and everything. And it was hot enough, but where they're actually from, it was Yuma, though. And
that's even hotter.
Oh my gosh, I'm telling you, I mean, my eyes were burning and everything. It was actually kind of a relief being in Phoenix in a way, but it was still really hot.
Right. Yeah,
so, I mean, I can see what I can see what you mean when you're talking about how it's just, it's really going to be hard to grow a lot of that sort of stuff. And then for a lot of, because you are a tree grower, I mean, more
fruit trees and
that sort of stuff. So in the long run, during that hot season, you're really working to kind of keep things going and keep things,
thriving through
through a really hot summer.
Well, so I put together a boot camp for fruit trees for the desert.
Yeah.
Maybe about 5 years ago. I've been growing fruit trees in Phoenix actively for 30 years. I planted my first ones in Phoenix 50 years ago. So I've got a lot of experience on growing fruit trees in the desert. So I put together this, we call it our root camp program for growing fruit trees in the desert. Yeah, exactly.
That's so good.
And when I moved here to Asheville, I implemented the same things, checked with the cooperative extension agent. She said, yep, that's going to work here. So I've been implementing the same strategies of growing fruit trees here that I did in Phoenix as well. So the biggest problem I have here is deer.
Oh, yes.
The deer munch and munch and munch.
Yeah, again, too, I always feel for folks who've got the deer issue. I was just driving the other day out, I don't know where I was, around town somewhere, out on the outside of town where people deal with some deer issues, I'm sure. But they had a big old caged up garden space. It was caged up in a nice big space too. And I was like, there's a person who has deer issues.
Yeah, exactly.
You could tell the gardeners with deer issues when you see their their locked down prison looking gardens,
Yeah.
that are all gated up. The wiring on the top around the edges to
keeping them out.
I mean, I don't even know, however, but that's pretty extreme. But folks will do whatever it takes to get those things out of their garden because they're so persistent, though.
Yeah, Jay, I love this. Jay says, "Oh dear," in all caps.
Exactly.
So when you asked me to be on the show, I looked at what I was doing in my garden, and I'm actually installing what I believe is absolutely flat out the best way to water your garden.
The best way to water your garden?
Best way to water your garden.
Yeah.
And I've proved this over the past 15 years. It's easy, it's efficient. One of the big key pieces to it is that it waters the same amount of water at the beginning of the system as it does at the end of the system. A problem with a lot of that's key. A problem with a lot of the drip irrigation systems is the pressure is bigger at the beginning and less at the end. So you get more water at the beginning of the system, less water at the end of the system, and it makes for hard growing.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you have big old plants up at the beginning of the system, and they start petering down a little ones,
and they're dead at the end,
system, right? Yeah, exactly.
They're dead at the end. So, are you curious yet?
Yes, I am. What do you got? What kind of system you got set up?
This is a system that small and medium farmers use, and I discovered it about 15 years ago with my buddy Scott Murray out of San Diego. He's one of my friends and mentors. And it's called drip tape. Drip tape is a lay flat irrigation system. And I'm actually installing it in my garden areas. Are we good?
I'm good.
All right, cool. I'm actually installing it this weekend in all my raised bed gardens, and it lays flat except when it fills with water. And the cool thing about the system, and you can do up to 600 linear feet in a zone.
Yeah.
And so the cool thing is that all of the lay flat tubes pressurize before they start leaking.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They kind of and just kind of the way they're set up, it's got to run through, pressure happens real quick, and then boom, then you can just pull that same pressure from everywhere. Whereas a drip line will hit, fill, and then the pressure starts from back here and works its way up, and by the time it works its way up, it's spouted out everything.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I love drip tape. The problem we ran into about 6 or 7 or 8 years ago when I first started doing this is I had to buy 5,000 linear feet rolls of drip tape.
That's a lot of drip tape.
It's a lot of drip tape. So what my team and I have done is we've downsized it, put together kits. We have a free class on YouTube. I can put the link in the chat if you want me to. But we have a free class on YouTube to teach people how to do drip tape. It's super simple. It's like putting Tinker Toys together. And it starts, here it is in a nutshell. It starts with your water source, whatever your water source is. If you have a chlorinated water source, then I highly suggest that you put a chlorine filter on. And then, so the water source is going through a chlorine filter to your drip irrigation system. So whatever zone you're going into, through a pressure reducer. One of the huge key pieces of a drip tape system is it has to be reduced to 10 psi. That is an what's that?
You have to take it all the way down to 10 then, huh?
Yep. And we have those. We have the 10 psi reducers.
A little regulator, a little pressure regulator.
Yep. So then it goes through the 10 psi reducer into your watering zone. And then here, what I'm giving you here is the drip tape class in a nutshell.
Right.
And then
get the details with the class, though. I'm sure we'll get a link here in there in just a bit too as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to connect. It's wanting me to sign in.
Oh,
the StreamYard. Not sure how to get into the chat, the comments.
Jay did put a link, YouTube, the Urban Farm. So she's got a link there for your YouTube, Urban Farm YouTube.
Cool. So then what we do is the water goes into polytube, you know, that 1/2-inch black polytube, the kind of flexible stuff. And that polytube drops it into the beds and the drip tape. And then you run the drip tape across. You have to run it in a straight line. It runs along the beds. Yeah. And you seal it off at the end, and it's really that simple.
Right on. Yeah.
Yes, Jay, that's the one. Drip tape irrigation class with Greg and Ray. That's the class.
She's good at this. I'm telling you, Greg, you don't got to worry sometimes. She finds those things and gets those links in before we know it. Also, here, I'm sure you remember Emmanuel Arce, the ultimate gardener.
Oh, yes.
In there, he asks you, what is your favorite fruit tree to grow? But before you answer that, again, I'll congratulate Emmanuel. He just graduated high school the other day.
Congrats.
Just graduated high school. One of our young gardeners out there sharing good gardening content to young folks out there, and just graduated. So again, congratulations to you, Emmanuel. And what's your favorite fruit tree to grow?
Is that for me?
How about I'll tell you mine real quick. I'm just a peach fan. I love peaches. This is my favorite time of year right now. I'm just munching and loving peach juice on my face almost every night around here. So I love peaches. How about you, Greg?
Oh yeah, peaches for sure. They're hard to grow here. Next comes, interestingly, apples for me because of the versatility of what you I might make apple chips, apple butter, apple cider, the non-alcoholic kind. I've never made the alcoholic kind, only just I haven't taken the energy to do it. So there's a lot you can do with apple, and apple chips are one of my favorite snacks.
Yes,
dehydrate them like mad.
I'm originally from Washington, so I just naturally love apples for sure. So they're one of my favorites. I do have a couple of apple container apple trees,
Oh,
and man,
nice.
I'm telling you, I get big, beautiful, awesome apples off these just not so big trees, which is just so wonderful. I love my apple trees for sure. They're definitely great. And I agree with Kelpie Caper's farm too. If I could, I'd grow oranges. I know there's some varieties I need to try, and if I really work the seasons right and do some stuff, I can probably get away with it if I really, really tried. I just haven't stepped back into the water yet when it comes to doing that, because I failed so miserably at citrus years ago. But I do got to get back into doing that.
Well, it's a temperature and climate thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And I've been told by people who are really good with growing citrus, and I'm sure you even told me too, there's certain varieties and some things and some tactics you can do if you really, really want to do it and you really want to grow them. So I just gotta put in the time and effort when it comes to what those will need for my climate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I did bring 3 citrus trees with me that I have growing in pots. And along about November 15th, they go into the greenhouse. And they spend, November, December, January, February in the greenhouse, and they come back out. And I got fruit on the Caracara, Mineola, and Trovita orange last year.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I mean, I know I got to try.
That's in zone 6. We're in zone 6 here.
Yeah. See, so if you could do that, I totally could. I totally could.
Just got a greenhouse, man.
I know. I got to find a greenhouse. I was just talking to my good friend Adam the other day, or this last week. I was like, man, I need to find someone around here who's got a good sized greenhouse that let me use some space at least. I just don't got any space for a greenhouse. I got some of those like little mini ones, and maybe I got a little spot I could put up like a little mini, like where you have just a little walk-in. It's not much of a space at all. And maybe I could set something up like that somewhere just for those. I don't know. I'll have to think about it a little bit harder, but it would be fun to be able to grow some citrus though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So drip tape, that's my favorite way to water your garden. And check out the class that I give, and then we have drip tape supplies you can get from us. We've downsized them all so that you can buy a packet for your small garden.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I've definitely got a couple of spaces where I've got to set up something for watering for this season too. A couple of in-ground spaces that I have. So some drip tape will probably be a good solution. I'll have to give that a shot for sure.
Kelpie Caper's Farm says we use drip irrigation here. It's a game changer. I hope it's drip tape.
Yeah.
But yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah. But irrigation in general, for sure, when it comes down to it, I mean, just I love to be able to get out and water my garden. I love to hand water. I love to get out there and do all that. But sometimes I got things I got to do, and then there's times where I'm like, man, I just wish I had a good time system set up good here. And then I do have a couple of spaces where I do, for the back and where I have it set up, but there's other harder to get for all, so I still got to get out there and I still got to water and all that sort of stuff. So it's trying to figure out how I can set those up as well too. But I don't know, having a good system like that is good to have, especially when it starts getting hotter too. You want consistent watering, right, Greg? I mean, that's going to be a big reason why. I mean, irrigation and drip irrigation or drip tape especially is going to be helpful, because we want consistent watering. We don't want everything to dry up, or because we missed or couldn't get to the hose in time, right?
Kelpie, exactly. Kelpie says something interesting here. We have about a third of our garden on drip irrigation, and the rest is watered by hand. The orchard is watered by a sprinkler. sprinklers aren't the best way to water an orchard because you don't want that water on the canopy itself.
Oh, if you're going up high?
Yeah.
Right. What about going low?
If it's low, that's just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't want to be spraying the canopy of the trees. Gosh, Kelpie says, my trees are tall. Very good. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. There you go. Right on. And cost-wise too, Bohemian Herbology is saying drip line is so efficient, really helps.
Yeah.
And yeah, drip tape though too, even more so than just all that other drip irrigation stuff too, right? Because as you're saying, it's simple, right? It's just this and that. You get into a lot of the drip irrigation stuff. It's this tube, and then you got to cut this tube here, put a little attachment so it can go up this way, and then turn it this way because you want, if you got a raised bed, you know, that sort of thing, and bring it in. Then you got to put all the little emitters in, and you got to set those up, and you know, all that sort of stuff. Whereas drip tape, you just kind of line it up, tack it down, and
exactly. You know,
right?
I planted, I can't remember if I shared this with you. I planted an elderberry orchard when I moved here. I have 100 elderberry plants in the ground, and I ran drip irrigation, not drip tape, drip irrigation to each plant. And the problem that I ran into with that is every time I watered, I had to go and look to see if the emitters had adjusted. Some of them clamp down, some of them spray more. So every single time I was watering, I had to go check each individual emitter on 100 different plants, and it was
calcification. There's another one that'll close up emitters too.
A major pain. So what I did, interestingly enough, is I ran out a 100-foot length of drip tape, and I used the drip tape system on there, so it equally pressurized from one end to the other, and that fixed the problem. Actually using drip tape irrigation on my orchard. So,
and really in the long run too, and in the idea also, because you were talking about that with setting up a drip irrigation system, putting emitters right on a plant, it's not really, our goal really is to get the whole soil structure around a plant moist and wet and all of that sort of stuff, not just directly there at the roots, because we want roots to be able to know they can expand and they can go out and they've got all sorts of space. So we want a vibrant, you know, moist soil all around. And with the tape though, with emitters just kind of popping up all the way down, that's what they're doing, is they're making sure that all of your soil in a way is getting wet, not just that one spot where we're putting our emitters. Because say our plants are spaced far apart in between space, you know, and it's a hot day and those drip can only water so much and they can only get the water to expand out so far. You got a whole spaces around that plant that are drying out. Yeah, definitely. Maybe more so though too, and we're talking now in ground though again too. Containers are a whole nother story if we want to get into that sort of conversation. That's probably more emitters and things like that we've got to be more specific and do those sort of things. But that's also something we want to think about with our emitters, even in containers, is that they're not just getting the roots right there, but they're getting the whole container. Right.
Precisely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Important stuff, especially as we're moving towards summertime, right? Because things are warming up really quickly. I know they are right around here for me, for sure. We just had our first and earliest 100 degrees days here in the Rogue Valley.
Really?
Yeah. Just 104. It was 104 the other day. 7 days earlier than the first 100-degree day and 7 degrees higher than the record previously.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're already cooking. Already coming, man.
Yeah.
And we got a nice little cool down right into the 70s afterwards right now. So we're a little 70s, some low 80s coming up, which kind of cool. It's getting back into that, there, but it's going to be heating right back up though, because summer is literally knocking at the door.
What do you do about keeping your pots hydrated? So if you've got pots up on this roof, how are you keeping them hydrated?
Yeah. Key for me, one of the big things that we do and we promote here on our channel, though, are our water wicking earth buckets.
Oh, very good.
So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that my plants are constantly taking up water. And this will be something, it was something that as I was working the old system before, that I'm going to have to work and figure out a good setup for this newer system if it's something we continue to go forward with, because what I want to do is get up there and have like maybe a good time system where I can maybe set up emitters, or maybe just little going into the bucket to fill them up, so I can so I don't have to get up there and fill them up myself. I can just kind of turn it on and they'll fill up, and then I don't have to worry about it, because we're just filling up a little reservoir. But on hot days, even with a reservoir, we got to get out there and make sure. So I do it. I mean, I can take off for a couple of days and not have to worry about my plants, but I do want to make sure I do have an eye on them at least every couple of days, making sure things are good, that sort of stuff. I'm not keeping them up there and just leaving them up there by themselves either. Even during the hottest time, we do got to get up there and make sure, but it does kind of alleviate from the having to be right on top of it. Like you have to with some containers during a hot spell almost twice a day sometimes, because the morning water could dry out by midday, and then you got to water so it, and then keep it through the rest of the night and all of that. But these containers work really well, so that's what we use up there for those. And so I really highly promote those for anybody who's working a system like that, or unless again too you can get up there and do a whole other setup like you would do in any other patio or any other sort of space, and be able to just get a water line up there, emitters running directly, and again with the same caveat, making sure that your containers are getting fully wet and not just around the base of the plant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So Jay wants to talk about seeds.
I know, I was just gonna say too, is we're getting to that point. We got to get into it. Again, one of the things too, and I'll just mention, you were talking to it, I have been making sure that all my all our live streams and everything since our last conversation have always had the link right down to Seed Up in a Box right down in our description down below, so that any people can always go and check that out. I think it's such a great, wonderful program. So let's dig into it. Let's talk about it again, man. For anybody who didn't get to check out or hear our last conversation, let's talk a little bit more about this really cool program and how it kind of got set up, because this started from a cool, as I was talking with our previous guests and I'm talking about a lot lately on our show, that really community is awesome, but our local community is really, really where it's at when it comes down to it. And this program kind of started out of a local community event that you started through the Urban Farm, right?
You did, and it started out with a conversation. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
And I in 2011, I went to seed school for a week in Tucson, Arizona, with Bill McDormand and Bellstar, and they're longtime friends of mine, and they were offering this seed school, so I decided to go and imbibe in a week's worth of seed saving information. And so I spent a week down there, and in the process I realized that Phoenix, 4.7 million people in Phoenix, the Phoenix metropolitan area, didn't have a seed bank. We didn't have a seed bank. The only place to get seeds were some big box stores and local nurseries and the internet. Which, as we found out in COVID and a couple other times in the past, that's a problem. That's a problem. So I made an agreement with Bill, and he and I bought 2,000 pounds of bulk open pollinated seeds, different varieties. I think we had about 80 different varieties, and we stuffed them in a freezer, and now we have a seed bank. Then Bill came to me and says, Greg, that doesn't solve the problem.
Right.
The problem is 4.7 million people. Community, what we were talking about a little while ago. And so he and I started brainstorming and came up with this event. The event is called the Great American Seed Up. This is our 11th year doing it. We do it usually the first weekend of November, Friday night and Saturday. And it's a big seed saving bazaar.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a marketplace, 10,000 square feet with a classroom and over 100 different varieties of open pollinated seeds in buckets.
Yeah.
And what each bucket contains, each area contains on the table is the seed, so Armenian cucumber seed, a scoop with the appropriate scoop size, a business card that's all the information that comes on a packet of seeds, and a plastic bag to put it in. And your job becomes packing the seeds. So we give you a cheat sheet. You just mark it off. I want 1 scoop of Armenian cucumbers. You go to Armenian cucumbers and you scoop, maybe it's a tablespoon, into a bag with a business card, seal it up, put it in your bag, move on to the next one.
Perfect.
And the scoops run between 75 cents and $1.75. And it's our goal to give you a jumbo size scoop. And our jumbo size scoops are 4 to 10 times bigger than what you would get in a packet of seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's awesome too. And again, too, similar to our Sarah's Seed Shop and all of that too, is you take away all of that packaging and all that other stuff, you know what I mean? It's just really ultimately not necessary, and you just simple little piece of information, scoop it yourself, get that stuff together. And I think that's just really awesome too. And so this event starts out as this local thing, man. And I saw it, and I've seen pictures that you've shared and all that about this before. I mean, this event got really popular. I mean, you were packing some rooms full of people who were just excited about walking around all these tables and getting to pick out all the different varieties that you have available. It's so much different than going up to like a counter or one of those wall or those display things, you know what I mean, with all the seed packets on it, where you're walking around and interacting with people, talking and discussing and learning about different varieties and picking and choosing things. It's just sounds like a really, really fun event just to partake in, let alone just the seeds you get to get.
Imagine 300 people in a 10,000 square foot room scooping seeds. It happens every single year. This will be our 11th time doing it. And it happens every single time. It's amazing and so much fun. So 2020 arrives. We start doing it in 2014, and 2020 arrives, and we can't do an in-person event. So Bell says, let's do a seed up in a box. So what we did is we package 10 packages in a big bag. So essentially 10 of our scoops go into one big bag.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I think I have a box here. Maybe I can step away and show you here in a minute. But there's 10 big scoops in a bag. Actually, talk for a minute. I'll be right back.
Absolutely. No problem. We'll not that one. Anyways, there we go. We'll give Greg just one moment there to go grab some of that there so we could show us real quick about this seed up in a box. I mean, really, really awesome. Again, too, talking about building community, talking about that sort of stuff. Let's see here. What's going on? Oh, I see here. Let's do this. Back chat it. There we are.
There we go. So it's kind of hard to see with the background, but
yeah, right in front of you. There you go.
This is a 10-pack of Swiss chard.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot of seed.
That's a lot of seed. And there's the business cards. Along in here comes a little card that says, all right, this is Swiss chard, and the serving size is a 1/4 cup. So in a packet of Swiss chard, from the seed up in a box, a 1/4 cup is how many seeds you get in one packet. So this is 10 1/4 cups. So your job becomes, when you get it, you split it into 10 different packets.
Yep.
And the cool thing about this is the price of seed with this one averages 80 cents a packet.
80 cents a packet, and big giant packets though. I mean, look at the size of that. I mean, I can't imagine the size of one of those packets if that's 10 packets in that bag.
Right.
So I mean, in a sense too, you know, and also I guess in variation of size as well too, because I suppose at that point you can make maybe double them if you're giving them out for gifts or something like that, make them 40 cents a piece or whatever. Because I thought that was another idea too, is that it's a good way to kind of create seed bank gift boxes you could give away for, say, holidays or birthdays, or maybe an event. Maybe you got an event like you know, I could imagine, say, at a wedding or something. Each table has like little or each guest gets a little seed bank box, you know, that they get to take home with them or something like that. I mean, there's so many different ways we can think of doing something where we can get such a great value, such great bulk seeds in a sense brought to us, where we can just do that, set it up. I think it's wonderful. I just love this idea.
Right. So we don't sell individual packets of seeds. We're not interested in selling. We're interested in super energizing local seed economies. I said that way on purpose. And this is great for seed banks, for seed libraries, for community gardens, church gardens, school gardens. I have some people that actually buy 25 different varieties of seeds. They throw a potluck, bring 9 of their friends, and they bring food, they eat together, and they package seeds during this event. Then everybody gets to take 25 different varieties of seeds home with them. I have a buddy of mine in Phoenix that gets a bundle every year, and he gives them away for holiday gifts. He repackages things, and that's what he does. And when you start dealing with seeds like that, there's something that's just magically fun about seeds and how and their abundance.
Kelpie asks, do those seed bags have individual variety names on them, or do they just say Swiss chard, etc.?
Oh no,
it's like a card, I think, right?
Yep, it's a business card. Here, let me see if I can get one of these out of here. It's a business card, and it specifically says, let me see if I can hold this up. There we go. There's one of the cards. This is Ford Hook Swiss chard. Tells how to seed production, culture, planting width, how to, tells you all that.
All the good planting information you need and everything too.
Yep.
And then you get 10 of those, right, that go with it, so that when you
exactly,
yep.
Exactly. So if bags. You order it with the bags, you get 10 Ziploc bags, you get 10 business cards, and you get enough. Well, in this case, it's 10 1/4 cups of seeds. So you scoop the 1/4 cup in the bag, and you're good to go. So again, this is designed to super energize your local seed economy, to get seeds to everybody, because as Bill McDormand says, if you're the only one with seeds and something goes down, you got a problem. So how do we make it such that all our communities have seeds?
That's right. That's right. And seed savers are the ones who are going to be the ones producing the food in those sort of situations, right?
Exactly. So I did a little video at seedupinabox.com. If you go to seedupinabox.com, there's a little.
I believe Jay has put a link in the chat there for everybody to that as well.
Cool.
And we have a link in the description as well.
Cool. But seedupinabox.com takes you to the Seed Up in a Box page that has a little explainer video. I did a 3-minute explainer video explaining how our bundles work and the massive amount of seeds that you get with them. So
yeah, exactly. Right on. That's like I said, a great way to again extend the seed banking idea too as well. I mean, it's good to kind of just have that available and just to do it. And I think more gardeners should.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So let's talk about saving seeds. It's really super simple. There's 2 main ways to save seeds. There's Greg's way and there's Bill's way. Let's talk Bill's way first.
Right.
And I use Bill's way a lot. So neither of them are better or worse. Well, okay, I think Greg's way is a little bit better. But saving seeds, cool, dark, and dry.
Yeah.
Keep them in a cool space, a dark space, and keep them dry. Now, for long-term storage, what I do with seeds is I put them in a plastic bag, put them in a jar, seal the jar, and stick them in the freezer. Okay, that'll keep them cool, cold, dark, and dry. And they can absolutely freeze. That's the best way to long-term store seeds, is that way. The way now, that is in Phoenix. So, Phoenix, it gets really hot. What I do here in Asheville, North Carolina, is I keep them in, again, plastic bags in a 5-gallon sealed bucket. So the humidity stays low. I keep them in my pantry, so it's cool, dark, and dry in the 5-gallon bucket. So that's for storing seeds long term. More than a day or two, long term.
Or how I just do as the regular old gardener. I got them up on my shelf with all sorts of different stuff mixed all together and all sorts of. I don't even keep mine really, but again, too, it's not quite the best way to be storing my seeds. As we find out as gardeners too, we save up those seeds. Several years later, we're going back and we're like, oh, let me use some of this lettuce seed that I want and see what I grow, and find out I don't get very much results or very good results out of it, because one, I didn't store it very well, didn't do what I needed to do to preserve lettuce seed for the long term, versus just letting it sit on my shelf and not doing it correctly.
Well, and just keeping them in some kind of closed, airtight container. You don't want to suck all the air out. Some people say, those machines you can dry pack.
The little thing that suck the air out.
Yeah, don't use those. They need the air. Air. So that's Bill's way of saving seeds. Greg's way is much simpler. I have a pot of basil that I started 3 years ago. And this also for me works for cilantro, for lettuce, for kale, for arugula. And that's that when the plants go to seed, I grab the seeds and drop them right where they're at.
Oh yeah.
I don't even bring them inside. I have a pot of basil, a 15-gallon pot of basil that I started 3 years ago when we got here. And each October, November, at the end of the season, I strip off the seeds
Yeah.
and drop them right in the bucket.
There
I
you
leave
go.
the bucket out in the weather.
Oh, okay.
I leave the
Just let.
bucket out in the weather. It gets snowed on, it gets rained on, it gets dried out. It does everything that it does. And the next season, every March, I get little basil plants. And this is
Right.
my 3rd year in a row. And so this is one of the key points in using open pollinated seeds. Open pollinated seeds aren't hybrids. Hybrids aren't bad, but I
Right.
generally choose open pollinated seeds because the seeds, when you save them, they pretty much replicate what you started with.
Yeah, that's right.
So
They're true to their parents better, whereas you're going to see some
exactly.
different varieties. And we had a great conversation with Joseph Lofthouse about some
Oh,
land
you had
race
Joseph,
gardening
huh?
a
Very
couple of
good.
weeks ago too, and we're talking about
Good.
some of this stuff as well. I kind of like his pretty much cross and drop type of way of gardening that he does, just kind of
Exactly.
letting things roll, letting them
Yep.
do it, do their thing, and getting all these fun different varieties of squash that he gets and stuff, which is really great, and
Yeah.
and in the long run, ultimately coming down to the idea of, just perpetuating varieties and keeping these things going. We also had what is Craig, who wrote Epic Tomatoes on our book club a little while back ago
Oh,
as well
nice.
too, and talked to him about some of these things and in varieties and saving and breeding down varieties and seed saving and all that sort of stuff, which is some really cool things that you can do too. If you are growing hybrids, you can kind of grow down your own types
Exactly.
of new varieties that you get out of things, but you got to go. It was a fun, cool idea of the process, but that's some of the extra fun we can have gardening when we get into that kind of experimental phase of playing around with how we're doing a lot of that sort of stuff. But really, ultimately, one of the first things we should start learning after we get some of the basic gardening principles down is saving seed. And sort of
Yeah.
like we were talking about from the videos that I'm sharing throughout this year, seed to seed, and not only that, we're going to take it a step further and we're going to actually grow some little starts from the seeds that we save, that sort of thing as well. Hopefully with a cool update on fruit though too. But
Bohemian,
it's
hold
good
on.
fun stuff, man. I love it.
Bohemian herbology. Sweet. Now that's the dream. It just dropped away.
Over here. Got it.
A self-sowing garden. So I lived at the same property in Phoenix, Arizona for 32 years.
Yep.
It was called the Urban Farm while I lived there. This is the entrance gate to the backyard.
Yep.
And what I did over that 32 years is I planted pretty much nothing but open pollinated seeds. And I had dozens and dozens of things that came up year after year that I never planted. I had nasturtiums that came up for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Every season they'd reseed themselves every year. I had parsley and lettuce. One of the awesome thing that happened maybe about 5 years ago, I took my dog out for a walk, and as I was walking down the driveway and out onto the street, there was a lettuce plant growing in the across the street neighbor's front yard. And I know that seed came from my yard.
Yeah, I know. I get tomatillos growing down my alleyway that I know come from my neighbor who grew the tomatillos several years ago. I was just joking with him the other day about that. I'm like, look, they're still popping up every year. I get more of them every time we move the soil around. New seed kind of pops up to the top or whatever. But I love our volunteers that we get all throughout the garden.
And they grow the
very
best.
similar with you though too. That's exactly what I do with lettuce though. Just like what you talk about.
Yeah.
Because it's really, lettuce is always grown best from the newest seed you can get. So every year I grow my best favorite variety. I let it go to seed. When that seed starts to drop, I make sure it drops all around. I get it all up and let it go and do whatever.
There you go.
Take some and save the rest of the seed for sharing and all that stuff. But I just spread it and let it go. And next year they're all popping up all over the place. And here's I've even got some lettuce. I'm just about to harvest one of my last heads out of one of my buckets that I got into from way over the other side of the patio, because they find their way all over the place too.
Right. So we've been here 3 years.
Yep.
We started with 0 gardening infrastructure, and we've been here 3 years.
Yeah.
And this year, a majority of our lettuce came from volunteers, and we eat 3 to 4 salads a week, where that's our entire meal. So we are using lots and lots of lettuce, and it just replants itself over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's why you want good, like, heirloom, open pollinated varieties. Find the ones that you really like, and then let those things go to seed, especially for your greens and things like that, for sure. Another great thing to save or get a lot of good seed for too, that I love to do every year, is save seed for microgreens in the wintertime.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I love to grow some microgreens during the wintertime. So, save up a bunch of extra seeds of different stuff and, use those for microgreens. Yeah.
I want to do a shout out. A couple times a year, we do a free online event on a Saturday called Seed Up Saturday.
Okay.
SEEDUP Saturday. And I'm just going to confirm here that it's seedupsaturday.org is that landing. It's a landing page. It was a 2-hour event that we did 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Talking, and we had Julia Dakin, Bevan Cohen.
Bevan, awesome. Bevan's another. He's another of our returnings.
Oh, good. Have you had Julia Dakin on yet?
I don't think I have yet. No,
I need to connect you with Julia. She is doing the work. And Rebecca Rebecca from the Seed Library Network, and we were talking about seed diversity. It's a 2-hour long, amazing conversation. If you go to seedupsaturday.org, you can sign up free for the replay.
Excellent. Yeah, so go check that out, definitely. And
Bevan, I love this. Bevan is a member of Heirloom Tomato Addicts Anonymous. Oh my God.
Yeah. That's Kelpie's tomato group that she has. Yeah, definitely. Bevan's awesome. He's another one of those ones just like you. He's one of those guys I could call up and say, hey, you wouldn't mind jumping on the show this Saturday, would you? That was so awesome of you to do last time too. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Bevan is one of my heroes. Yes. I've had him on the podcast multiple times, and he is so good at what he does.
Yeah,
and how he communicates it. Bevan is an absolute gardening rock star.
Yeah, and you want to talk about like events around seeds and stuff like that. I hadn't, of course, I mean, I'm sure it would be really amazing to see one of those events that you used to put on and all of that. But Bevan would put the seed swap together for the heirloom exposition.
Oh, I know. Isn't that amazing?
And just so much fun. One of the so cool events, people standing in line wrapped around the place, wanting to come in and dig in and get in on all these seeds. And he's such an amazing host for it all, and just a great person. So he is really one of my favorite people for sure.
Nice. Well, let me touch on something. So we only took 2020 off. We still do the Great American Seed Up the first Friday and Saturday of November each year. And last year we had people coming in from California.
Oh yeah.
From Denver. Nice. People are coming in from across the country to check this out. So it is the first Friday and Saturday of November this year that we actually do this seed scooping event. So if you want to see it in person, come on down.
Yeah. And keep following along and everything too, with everything that Greg's got growing on there at the Urban Farm. We've got links down below to all of that stuff for all of you. Urban Farm U, where you can go and learn all sorts of stuff. The Urban Farm podcast with, again, too, I mean, as far as guests are concerned and getting really amazing guests, there ain't nobody better at getting some awesome guests to talk about gardening
Thanks.
and growing than the Urban Farm podcast over there too. So you'll definitely want to go and check that out as well too, through our links and everything too.
930 episodes.
930 episodes. Oh my gosh. I'm just passing like 130. I still got 800 to go.
Congratulations, man.
But yeah, again, too, you're a big, huge inspiration as well, too, and always have
thanks.
been. And really, again, too, one of the first people I wanted to call and have on this show. And you were so awesome to jump on. And not only that, being a part of this whole adventure we've been on here on the Let's Get Growing show. And it's always great to have you here on for the conversation. And we're always looking forward to the next one as well, too.
Right back at you. I think I used up my hour, dude.
That's about right. It was about time for us to get moving along today. And as they say, Greg, I miss you already.
There you go.
All right. We'll see you again next time.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it,
Greg.
buddy.
You got
Good
it.
work.
All right. There we go. Another great conversation with our good friend Farmer Greg Peterson from the Urban Farm podcast. And again, as I said, all of those links are right down below here. Go and check them out. Go check out some of those things. I know Jay's been dropping in links to some of the other more specific events and things that Greg is talking about as well too. Go check out some of those things. And if there's a comment section, as I always say, definitely drop in and make sure you let Greg know you saw him here on the Let's Get Growing show. And again, thank you also to Graylen Brown from Urban Gardening with Gray with us earlier today on the show. I mean, just a great, fun, awesome conversations with just amazing gardeners sharing all of their great, amazing gardening talents with all of us all over social media right here on the Let's Get Growing show. So again, thank you to all of them for spending their time with us this weekend. And again, like I mentioned too, just a little bit earlier, we do have our monthly gardening book club coming up tomorrow for our Sunday edition of the show. Mr. MBC is joining with us live. He'll be here live to come hang out and co-host our monthly gardening book club. And we're welcoming Christian Douglas. Author Christian Douglas is joining us tomorrow to talk all about his book, The Food Forward Garden, a complete guide to designing and growing edible landscapes. This will be a great conversation with Christian Douglas for our monthly gardening book club. And of course, you'll want to come and hang out for the end of the show as well too, where we'll announce next month's featured book and featured author for next month's monthly gardening book club. And then again too, lots and lots of things continuing to happen here each and every like I say, every Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. British Standard Time for all of you over there in the UK. But we've always got lots and lots of things growing on here. I just want to do a quick rundown of what we've got coming up again for the next couple of weeks, because we're going to do some things not really that different, I suppose, but we're going to have some fun. In fact, this next Saturday, I was working and trying to get a guest together and doing that sort of thing, and ultimately created an opening for us. So what we're going to do this next Saturday for the show, it's one of our fun community shows. We're going to have another opportunity for all of you to be the guest right here on the Let's Get Growing show. So yes, so next Saturday we'll have a community show where all of you can get together here with me, join in on the show. I'll share with you guys the show link. You can come join with us for a fun on-air live conversation with me here, catch up with what's going on in your garden, maybe give you some shout outs. And here's another thing too, for all of you who are out there right now listening and you have small channels, maybe you know some folks with some small channels or something like that as well too. Go let them know. Go let them know that we are having a community show this next Saturday. If you can, get the word out to some of the smaller channels out there. Let them know to come here, come participate in our community shows. This is a great way for small channels to be able to jump on, give themselves a shout out, talk about their channels and all that sort of stuff as well too. So this is a good way for us to also get the word out to some other folks as well too about the Let's Get Growing show is through our community shows too. So let's do that. Let's get the word out. Let's let everybody know that you can all come and hang out with us next Saturday, where you, the audience, will be the guest for the Let's Get Growing show. And then for the Sunday edition next week, we're going to have a really great conversation. I've been working on this and wanting to get this conversation together for a while. We're going to be welcoming back to the show Alicia DeVore from Create My Garden. When we talked to her last, she was telling me about how she was going through this program, learning about and learning to become a horticultural therapist and learning about this newer upcoming profession of horticultural therapy. She is going to join with us with the professor, Dr. Derek Stoll, who runs the horticultural therapy program through, I believe it's the University of Tennessee, if I'm right. I hope I'm right about that. I'll get that completely correct later on for sure. But anyways, he's going to be joining with us and Alicia to talk all about horticultural therapy, the importance of gardening and helping folks out. This is healthcare. Gardening is really healthcare. We're going to also be talking a lot more in the weeks coming up here soon too, as we'll be having a good friend, Dr. Jeff, back on the show. He's going to be joining us regularly now to be talking about gardening as medicine. So we're going to have a great conversation again with them this next Sunday to dig into this whole new upcoming, which isn't certified yet. I'm not sure. We're going to learn a lot more about all this sort of stuff next Sunday on a garden roundtable to talk all about horticultural therapy. So you won't want to miss out on that conversation. I'm going to let you know about the week after as well, because this is going to be a week off. The Saturday after next Saturday is my granddaughter's very first birthday. So I'm going to take the day off. It's going to be Layla's birthday. I'm going to go hang out and celebrate and enjoy the whole day with my granddaughter for her first birthday. So I had to make a little banner there for it there too. So again, no show on a Saturday, on the Saturday after next. And we will though leave the chat open. So that will be Layla's birthday, no show, open chat for the Saturday after next. And then on the Sunday show, we're going to have our good friends Christopher and Kang back together for another fun garden roundtable with our friend Christopher Bransdal from Norway and our good friend Kang Starr from the Pepper Lovers community, joining us from the Lone Star State of Texas. And we'll get together with them and see how things are growing on for them this season, as we like to get together with them every couple of months or so and see what's happening. So again, everybody, lots and lots of great things growing on. We got lots of more really great guests coming up as we get moving through the summer as well too here on the Let's Get Growing show. So again, everybody, thank you so much. And if you can, before you leave, hit that like button, click the subscribe button so you can watch all these great videos I got coming up, our Pepper series video, garden journals coming up, more live streams. Click that reminder button, share with all your friends, let them know about our upcoming community show, and follow all of those links down in the description. You guys, it's been so wonderful hanging out with all of you today, and I look forward to seeing all of you for tomorrow's show. Again, we'll see you on our Sunday edition. We'll see you tomorrow.